Have you ever seen a boy and a crow become friends? I'm not talking about some fantasy or fairy tale where magic is involved. I mean a real-life friendship, the kind that happens quietly, without any grand gestures, just a connection between a wild bird and a curious child. That's what happened with Otto and Russell. Stay tuned for today's story on Animals Need Love to discover more. Crows are often seen as mysterious, even a little spooky, in stories and legends. People associate them with bad luck or ominous signs. But for Otto, Russell wasn't just a crow. He was a companion, a loyal friend who showed up every time Otto went outside, watched over him from the rooftops, and even made himself at home inside, perched on the couch next to him while Otto watched cartoons. How did this bond form? Well, it all started one winter afternoon when the crow first appeared, almost like a shadow in the fading light. Lurka and her friend had been working around the house, preparing for the seasons to change. The air was still crisp, with the last breath of winter hanging on stubbornly, but there was a promise of warmth in the sun's soft glow. They were in the middle of discussing plans for the garden when the small, frail figure of the crow caught their attention. At first, they thought nothing of it. Birds often wandered into their yard, and this one didn't seem much different. But as Lurka's friend walked closer, he noticed something that made him pause. The crow wasn't moving like other birds. It was sitting low to the ground, its feathers ruffled and messy. Its tiny body looked thin, almost sickly. "Hey, take a look at this," he called out to Lurka. "This one doesn't look too good." They both knelt down to get a better look. The crow didn't fly away, didn't even attempt to move as they approached. His eyes were wide and clear, but there was a weariness in them. Something wasn't right. The crow shifted slightly but didn't fly off like wild birds usually did at the sight of humans. That's when they realized it was too weak to fly. Lurka's first instinct was to leave it alone, thinking maybe it just needed to rest. But then, as the evening shadows grew longer, the crow remained in the same spot. As the hours passed, it became clear this bird needed help. They decided to take action, knowing that doing nothing could mean the crow wouldn't survive. "Maybe we should call someone," Lurka suggested, pulling out her phone. "A wildlife rehabilitator or someone who knows what to do with injured animals." But when they called the nearest wildlife rescue centers, the news wasn't promising. The closest rehabilitator was miles away and didn't have the capacity to take in another bird. Lurka's friend sighed in frustration. He didn't want to just leave the crow out there to suffer. So, with a bit of hesitation and a lot of compassion, Lurka's friend carefully scooped the frail crow into his hands, cradling him gently. The crow didn't fight or protest, but instead seemed to relax in his grasp, as if he knew he was being helped. They decided to bring him inside. The first few days were filled with care. They fed the bird, offering him scraps and fresh water. They named him Russell, mostly because, well, he looked like a Russell, and the name just felt right. The little crow, too weak to fly at first, accepted their help without hesitation. Over time, he grew stronger, his feathers glossy and his eyes brightening with energy. But as Russell regained his strength, something unexpected happened. Despite being free to go wherever he wanted, Russell chose to stay. And so, Russell, once a wild bird who had wandered into their lives by chance, became a permanent fixture of their family. He wasn't around all the time. There were days he'd disappear for hours, disappearing into the sky or the woods nearby. But when Otto was outside, Russell was never far behind. Their bond started slowly. Otto, a curious, fearless little boy, didn't seem to be afraid of Russell, even though others might find a crow to be intimidating. Russell, in turn, appeared to grow fond of Otto in a way that was hard to explain. He would follow Otto around the yard, hopping along beside him, flapping his wings in bursts of excitement as if to say, "I'm here, let's play." The magic happened one summer afternoon when Otto's mother opened the window to let in some fresh air. Otto was sitting on the couch, eyes glued to his favorite cartoon, when out of nowhere, Russell flew in through the open window and landed on the couch next to him. Otto glanced up, a smile spreading across his face, and before long the two were quietly sitting together, Russell perched nearby, watching the TV with an intensity that could only be described as intrigued. Otto would laugh, giggling as he tried to stroke Russell's glossy black feathers. It became clear that Russell wasn't just a visitor, he was part of the family. Russell's affections were particular. He would allow Otto to pet him, but if anyone else tried, even Lurka, he would fly away, almost as if to say, "No, this bond is only for Otto." It was a special connection, one that grew over the weeks as they spent more time together. Russell would follow Otto outside, hopping and flapping behind him as if keeping guard. If Otto ran, Russell would take to the air, swooping low to stay by his side. And when Otto went inside, Russell would perch on the windowsill, his dark eyes peering inside, waiting for his friend to come back out and join him. Life, with Russell in it, became an endless adventure. The little crow didn't just form a bond with Otto, he had a particular interest in every member of the family. He loved to join Lurka when she took Otto to daycare, hopping onto the car's roof and riding along with them. Sometimes Russell would circle overhead, watching them carefully, as if ensuring Otto was safe. But there was one thing that Russell loved more than anything: pacifiers. Otto's baby sister, Hedwig, was still young enough to need one, and Russell had developed a fascination with the little rubber device. He would watch Hedwig with an almost predatory concentration, sitting perfectly still, his eyes trained on the pacifier. Then, in a flash, he would swoop down, snatching it away before anyone could react. It was both hilarious and frustrating. Russell would fly off with the pacifier in his beak, teasing them with his cleverness before dropping it at a safe distance, as if to say, "You're welcome." Hedwig would giggle, Otto would protest, but Russell always seemed to be one step ahead. Russell's relationship with the family's dogs and cats was a different story. There was an undeniable tension. Russell was always eager to teach the dogs and cats lessons, whether they wanted to learn or not. He would swoop down, teasing them from the safety of the roof or a tree branch, ruffling their fur as if saying, "You're not the boss around here." The cats, in particular, weren't sure what to make of this feisty crow. They would watch him with wide eyes as he hopped around the yard, daring them to follow. Despite the playful chaos he caused, Russell's presence brought something special to the family's lives. Living with him was like living on the edge of the natural world, where the boundaries between domestic life and the wild blurred. The family saw the world through Russell's eyes, his curiosity, his loyalty, his need for connection. In many ways, he became their bridge to the larger world around them, reminding them of the beauty of nature and the unexpected friendships that could arise when you least expect them. Russell wasn't just a wild bird. He was their companion. He was their teacher. He was their family. And no matter how much time passed, no matter where his wings might take him, Russell remained part of their everyday lives. A reminder that sometimes the most unlikely friendships can be the ones that change us forever. To the outside world, crows are often associated with dark omens or misfortune, symbols of death and decay. In many cultures, they are seen as harbingers of danger, or even as creatures that bring bad luck. But to Otto, to Lurka, to their family, And to Russell himself, crows symbolize something different. Crows are intelligent and resourceful, often thought to represent change, adaptation, and the need to think for oneself. They are loyal creatures, and once Russell had bonded with the Lunamy family, he never left. His actions and his presence reminded them daily of the depth of connection that could exist between different species. Russell was not a harbinger of doom. He was a friend, a teacher, and a loyal companion. For Otto, Russell represented curiosity, courage, and the thrill of a world that wasn't always predictable. And for Russell, perhaps, Otto symbolized the innocence and purity of trust, something to protect and hold dear. In the end, Russell wasn't just a crow. He was a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary things are the ones that arrive when we least expect them. And that friendship can be found in the most unlikely places. And so, what started as a chance encounter turned into an unbreakable bond, one that not only connected Otto and Russell, but also brought a touch of the wild into their everyday lives. But I wonder, have you ever experienced something like this? A friendship with an animal, something that defied expectations and left you with a sense of awe? Maybe it wasn't a crow, but perhaps a dog, a cat, or even a bird in your own life. What's your story? Share your thoughts or stories with us. Thank you so much for sticking with us all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to turn on the bell and subscribe to our channel Animals Need Love so you never miss any of our new videos. Thank you for your support. Wishing you all peace, happiness, and a little bit of extra love today. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.